the Golden State Warriors torching the Dallas Mavericks last night in the Western Conference Finals in what was, in one man's opinion, one of the most dominating performances we have seen this postseason, and a lot of it had to do with Steph Curry and his ability to create space and create opportunities. And it's something that we knew would happen. We talked about that on the show yesterday. But the thing that I think really impressed last night was the team defense the Golden State Warriors rolled out. And as athletic as they are offensively, I don't think, Jake, we've seen this Warriors team defend to this level this postseason, at least not as well as they defended Luka last night.
Yeah, they were very committed to stopping Luka last night, and I think that's where it starts if you're playing the Dallas Mavericks. You can't have Luka just getting any switch he wants. You can't have Luka deciding how the game is going to go, and I think that the Warriors understand the strategy. There was a lot of talk coming into this game about how the Warriors had had a couple extra days here to rest and repair, and I think that is where the advantage came in last night. They knew how they wanted to handle Luka. They had a strategy, and they employed that strategy. I think it needs to be said that Dallas missed a lot of three-point shots that they typically would make. So I don't really put a lot of stock into this game as far as, Dallas not being, good enough to beat the Warriors or this series not being a long series. I think Dallas was a little bit tired last night. I think they didn't make shots. I think when you combine that with the Warriors playing really just elite team defense against Luka, it was a recipe for success for the Warriors. So I think as the series goes on, Luka will be better. Luka and his teammates will be better. I just think the biggest thing last night was the Warriors came prepared to play great team defense, which led to a lot of turnovers, which ultimately led to the victory. Because the turnovers are what really start to fuel the Warriors and get them going in transition. And we told you yesterday that the Warriors were going to want to get out and run, and they were going to want to push the pace against Luka because Luka likes to play with a slower pace. He likes to get that switch onto the big or maybe a player who isn't as strong as him that he can back down, and then he likes to play one-on-one. And last night, that was not going to work in an effort to win that game. So I was very impressed with what the Warriors did defensively, but I want to make sure this morning after watching that game we're on the same page that these two teams are actually pretty even, I feel like. Last night just didn't go the Mavericks' way on basically any level.
Well, and I think one of the more interesting parts of this series is going to be adjustments. I mean, as we've talked about, you have two of the elite head coaches in the NBA right now, and Steve Kerr and Jason Kidd going head-to-head. And I think the shocking thing was the Golden State Warriors played Luka Doncic to his left, and they stacked their defense for that. And I thought that was brilliant. Like, they weren't obsessed with making Doncic go right. Mm-hmm. They simply adjusted their defensive sets. And I think, again, Draymond Green showed his importance to the Golden State Warriors last night. His ability to strip Luka Doncic without getting a foul called against him or committing a foul, however you want to put that, was critical at certain times in that game. And I think when you look at Draymond pulling down rebounds, getting out on the run, I think he was everything that you wanted him to be. That block shot on Reggie Bullock in the corner, I thought was absolutely a momentum swing for the Golden State Warriors. You got that. I thought Andrew Wiggins and the defense that he played one-on-one against Luka Doncic was fantastic.
Yeah.
I thought that was a huge part of this game. And I'm with you. I think the role players for the Dallas Mavericks not knocking down those open threes, whether it was Bullock, whether it was Jalen Brunson had 3-4 wide open looks from 2 and 3 and missed them all. I thought that was huge. I mean, if you are the Dallas Mavericks, I think, again, you have to get more from the other 4 guys on the floor with Luka. And the other guy that I would point to here is Dorian Finney-Smith is oddly over the last couple of series, performing one of the great disappearing acts that we've seen. I think he's incredibly important to Dallas. And when you look at the way that Jason Kidd uses his guys and runs those rotations, I think it's incredibly important that, Spencer Dinwiddie, Jalen Brunson, it goes without saying, Jalen's got to score, 20 points for them to win.
Yeah.
But I think Dorian Finney-Smith is a guy that's got to knock down his shots, and he's got to get more shots. And frankly, with the way that the Warriors are defending right now, Jake, I don't know how Dallas is going to accomplish that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing for Dallas is ball movement and motion in the offense. There was a lot of, sort of polarization on Luka last night, and I think that it's not just the cutting, if you're Dallas offensively, like it's not just trying to get the baseline cut or get the, the weak side wing cut going. It's more about getting, offensive sets that get the ball moving, because that's ultimately the only way that you're going to start to get open looks in this series if you're Dallas. I mean, you have, again, the big difference between the Warriors and the Suns is that the Warriors have, several guys who can play lockdown defense. It's not just Andrew Wiggins. I think Jordan Poole is, more than athletic enough to stay with most of the Dallas Mavericks roster. You've got Draymond Green backing you up. Even Steph Curry. Everyone wants to say that Steph doesn't play defense. I got news for you. He does, and he's strong for his position. He is one of the strongest players on the floor at his size, so he can do some things. So I think if you're Dallas, the biggest thing here is I would be getting Luka off the ball in terms of bringing it up, and I would be getting him in motion to get particular matchups, and specifically to get him off of Andrew Wiggins, because that's the problem. Wiggins is athletic, he's quick, and he's long, so he can get to the spot just as quick as Luka can, and that's why you saw it was difficult for Luka to get to the basket. And then you add the help defense to that. There's no way Luka is going to put up 40 in that game. Compare last night's game to Game 7 against the Suns. Very, very large contrast, right? Like two completely different styles of basketball out of Luka. You don't have the DeAndre Ayton switch. You don't have the Rudy Gobert switch anymore. Right, you're playing one of the best teams in the league. They have all five guys can guard anybody. So that's why I say it can't be the Luka show. It's got to be, hey, yeah, sure, Luka's going to get his, but the ball's got to move. You have to move the ball to create open opportunities, and that's what ultimately I think you will see a lot of adjustment from Jason Kidd and the Mavericks.
Well, I think you better, because you're going to have to figure out how to knock down shots. And I actually think it is as simple as putting guys in position to make more three-point shots for Dallas. That's what this is going to come down to. Because when you look at some of the numbers in this game, there isn't really one specific stat that stands out to you as something where you're like, wow, holy bejesus weasels. I don't know what that means. But there's not a stat that stands out to you in this game. Looking at like the numbers, I mean, you look at some of the shooting performances. Dorian Finney-Smith scores 5 points, on 1 of 3 from 3. I mean, that's absence. That's not even, in my opinion, an effort to get yourself going. You get 12 from Bullock. You only get 17 from Spencer Dinwiddie, but the real issue is you only got 20 from Luka.
Yeah.
So all of that says to me, well, the Warriors played really good defense, and you look at some of the team numbers. The thing that terrifies you if you are Golden State is it's not like Golden State played otherworldly basketball. If you look at just the turnover numbers, Golden State turned the ball over 15 times.
I mean, you still lost by that much.
15 times, and Dallas lost by 25 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
That's scary.
Yeah.
If you're Golden State, you have to believe at some point the Mavericks are going to knock down jumpers in this series.
Yeah.
Because they will.
Yeah.
You got to clean that up. I mean, it is, and it's more than, if you look at the individual numbers, it's more than just one guy. It's not like Steph had 5 turnovers on his own. It's 7, between Draymond Green and Andrew Wiggins combined for 7 turnovers. It's 2 from Looney. It's 3 from Curry. It's 2 from Otto Porter. Like, everybody was guilty of it with the exception of Klay Thompson, who really was a second half performer last night. He didn't turn the ball over at all. You got to clean that up.
Yeah.
Right? So now the good news is to offset that, the Golden State Warriors got out and ran. They had 18 fast break points, which I think we knew was going to happen with Draymond Green being a force pulling those rebounds down.
Yeah.
But, I mean, 7 turnovers for Luka Doncic. I believe he had 6 or 7 on his own. That's a big number, right? And that has to continue. It probably won't. There's a lot of things here, if you're the Golden State Warriors, that concern you.
What do the free throw numbers look like? Because that's the other thing that I think was interesting last night.
Well, Dallas shot 14 of 21. And again, something we talked about yesterday, 14 of 21 is terrible free throw shooting.
It's unacceptable.
Luka Doncic should not be taking technical foul free throws. Luka Doncic is not a good free throw shooter.
Yeah.
And he should not be taking free throws. He missed that technical, and that you could see that was demoralizing. You can't shoot 67% on 21 free throws.
That's an issue.
I mean, yeah, it is, coach. You can't do it, right? And by the way, it's not like Golden State shot the lights out. They were 10 of 16 for 62%.
And that's what I think is so interesting. If I'm Dallas, that's what I'm worried about. If you go back to the 3-point stats for the Warriors, they didn't particularly shoot amazing last night.
10 of 29 for 34%.
That's not amazing basketball out of the Warriors. Like,
I'm worried if I'm the Warriors, I'm looking at some of these analytics, I'm looking at some of these numbers, and you start to believe that Dallas just didn't knock down the jumper.
Yeah.
Like Dallas just didn't. If
I mean,
Dallas,
what was their shooting number last night? Because there were so many like when I was watching this game, I was looking at it and I'm like, man, Luka's missing all these little floaters in the lane. You figure that's probably good for another, 8 points on his stat sheet last night. You've got Reggie Bullock just missing the wing 3 attempts. You've got, like you were just saying, Dorian Finney-Smith missing all these shots. So that's why I say, like, the score, Dallas finishes in the 80-point range somewhere in there, like 86 points, I think. You got to figure that they're a 100-point team in this series all day long. They just didn't shoot well last night. So the real question is going to be, A, in game 2, who turns it over less? But B, when do we get as far as the Warriors are concerned, when do we get the Klay Thompson goes nuts from 3 game? Or when do we get the outlandish 3-point shooting percentage out of the Warriors? Because that's going to happen too. And that's what I think is so interesting. Do we get that in a game 2?
Are you relying on that? Because if you're relying on that, Dallas is going to win this series. I mean, I think I look at how poorly Dallas shot, and that's not going to continue. Dallas is too gifted from distance.
Yeah.
To shoot, what is it? 22.9%.
I mean, that's just embarrassingly bad.
I mean, that is horrendous. They're not going to shoot 36% from the floor. They're not.
Yeah.
They were tired. They were coming out of a long series. They spent a lot of their energy in that game 7. Like,
yeah.
You expected this. Game 2 is where you're going to really understand who the Dallas Mavericks are. And my question is, did Golden State send a message to Luka and the Mavs about this is going to be a grinder series for you, guy?
How about that?
Yeah, I mean, and I think there's a real good chance that's what happens here. Like, I have to believe that what we saw last night out of Golden State defensively is what we're going to see for the rest of this series.
Yeah, that'll continue, no doubt.
You're going to have the ability, if you're Reggie Bullock, if you are Dorian Finney-Smith, Kleba, you're going to have the opportunity to shoot threes because they're going to make those guys beat them. They are not going to allow Luka Doncic to have 40-point games. They're going to do everything they can do to prevent that. And I think when we go back to Dallas, I think what you're going to see is Luka's going to be probably a lot more energized in front of his home crowd, and you're probably going to get a 30, 40-point game out of him.
Yeah.
The question is that the same game that Klay Thompson goes off? Is that the same game that Wiggs or Steph Curry goes off, right? Because none of those guys had big numbers. This is the thing that worries you if you're the Dallas Mavericks, too, by the way.
Yes.
If you check the box for Golden State, it ain't like anybody individually went off and blew the doors off of you.
Fucking A.
Yeah, I mean, 21 points was the leading scorer. Steph Curry had 21 points last night. Their leading scorer. The other big names, like Jordan Poole goes for 19 last night. Nobody had more than 21. So they got a very balanced attack last night.
Yeah.
Right? You got 10 from Otto Porter, who I thought ran the floor really well. That was a big deal. But 15 from Klay, 21 from Curry, 10 from Looney and Green. You get 19 out of Andrew Wiggins with stellar defense. That should concern you.
Yeah.
It is Steph Curry going for 21 and 12 rebounds. That should concern you. 4 dimes from him. You get badly out-rebounded. If the Dallas Mavericks, 51-35.
Jesus.
You got badly out-rebounded. So neither one of these teams played a stellar game.
Yeah.
Neither one of them did. So I'm curious. I think game 2 is going to be much more indicative of what we see from this series in the long term versus what we're seeing in game one.
Yeah.
All right, let's get some of your comments in here. If you're watching the show, please give us a thumbs up right now. It helps us grow the channel. Don't forget to peruse and browse and then spend your money on our affiliate links below. James Knight says, what's up, lads? James, first in, good to see you. Giggity, good morning to you. Rudy Sanchez says, good morning, fellas. Warriors look good. The Warriors look relaxed.
Yeah.
The Warriors look relaxed. That's what it looked like to me. It is really stupid to be getting technical fouls. By the way, I thought Draymond controlled himself very well last night. Very well last night.
Only game one. We'll see. Jordan
Poole getting a technical foul, I think it was. That was dumb. Why? And again, though, this is kind of the thing that we're going to wind up talking about a lot here. You're up 20 and you're bitching at the official to the point where you get a technical
There's
foul.
no reason for it.
Like, what were you doing? What, like, are you
were
just
being in the moment? That's what you were doing.
But maybe you weren't in the moment. You're up 20. How are you complaining about anything with the officials? I mean, like, it made no sense. Steve Hambone says, good morning. What's up? Neville93, how we doing? And Garcia, Greg Hawkins says, sup casuals. James Knight says, I don't think Klay Thompson is anywhere near his best and maybe won't get back there, though. Well, I mean, I
don't know about that.
I think Klay is, when you come off of the injuries that Klay's had, I think it's going to take you 18 months to get back to who you were.
Yeah.
And he's shooting the three very well. I think one of the things you're noticing is he's not trying to dunk on guys anymore.
Yeah.
He's doing a really good job because dunking is hard on your body. I don't know how many people realize that. Dunking is hard on your body. So when you go up to the rim, and this is how he tore his ACL, by the way, when you go up to the rim, it is a physical beating on your body. Because in this league, there are no free passes. You're getting hit. You're getting, essentially, you're taking a beating. So I think Klay's doing the exact right thing. It's why I've asked so often of Donovan Mitchell, why play at the rim? Use your mid-range game. Yeah. And when you get the opportunity to dunk on it, dude, do it.
Stay healthy.
But you got to play in the mid-range in this league to have a long career.
Yeah.
And I think Klay Thompson's figuring that out. So, yeah, James, I think that's a good question. Eric and Raleigh says, scratching Luka across the face really slowed him down. Yeah, well, they were physical with Luka. There was no free pass, so to speak, for Luka. Like, he got in the paint, they were swiping at him, they were hitting out at him. Like, it was absolutely a smart physical game plan to limit Luka Doncic last night, and you could see he was frustrated. And we talked about this with Jason Tatum the other night. What was Luka doing? Not running back on defense. He was getting stripped, not running back on defense. He was getting hit, not running back on defense.
And I think they set the tone early by picking him up full court, and which is something else we talked about yesterday. Like, I think, when you just start the game and you say to Andrew Wiggins, say, don't worry about scoring, just go and lock this guy up. I mean, that's a great way to kind of set the tone of how you're going to treat Luka through the rest of the game. And look, I mean, it's not like Andrew Wiggins went out there and was like intentionally trying to scratch the guy across the face.
No.
Things happen. But I think the Warriors, to your point, did a great job of really trying to really kick his ass, honestly, like by basketball terms, like being physical with him, bodying him, like a lot of those floaters that I was talking about earlier that he typically makes, that doesn't mean that the contact's not there. They were bodying him, and I would expect him to make those at a higher percentage. But again, we're in a time of year where they've played a lot of basketball, bro. It adds up. The miles keep adding up. So at some point, you're going to get to a place where you need that rest. And so that's why I think, like, tonight when they're not playing and they're resting and they're recovering and they're getting their ice baths in, tomorrow I think you will see a much better version of Luka just inside of his own personal game. Yeah, I think you'll see a much better version. Absolutely.
Well, I think you better. I mean, I think you have to because they're not going to win with him scoring, less than 30 points. He has got to score 30 points. I mean, it's shocking how uncomfortable he was at times in this series, in this game rather.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to have to change that if they want to win this series.
Well, and I think the expectation really should be that the Warriors will win game 2. Like, I don't think we're going to see what we saw in prior series where Dallas gets the marquee road win early in the season or early in the series to kind of shift things. Like, I think you're going to see they'll be down 2-0 leaving California. They're then going to be tasked with, trying to win 2 in a row, which I don't think they will. So then I think they're going to be down 3-1 coming back. And then I think this series is over in 6, and that's honestly how I see it playing out based on what the Warriors are able to do defensively, because that's how you win on the road with defense.
It's just so shocking to see a guy like Luka Doncic be so unathletic.
Yeah.
Like when you're running against Golden State, and I know everybody's going to say, well, you just hate Luka. I do. I want to punch him in the face. I appreciated Andrew Wiggins. We were all Andrew Wiggins last night. But I have respect for his game. I mean, Luka Doncic is a hell of a player. But the thing that stands out to you when you're going up against Steph, Clay, Poole, Dre, you're going up against a really athletic Golden State Warrior team. Luka Doncic is not athletic.
Fat.
He is, and I don't even know if he's fat. He just, like somebody, I retweeted a picture of Luka Doncic sitting on a street drinking a beer.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't like in current times or whatever, but that's who he is. He's a guy that likes his pizza. He likes his beer. He likes his food.
Fat.
He's not a guy that's committed to being in the best shape of his life.
Right.
And when you have Jordan Poole and Andrew Wiggins coming at you, and you have Steph Curry dribbling you into a blender, you better be athletic. And that's the only thing that really worries me about this series is I don't know that your best player can be unathletic and unable to run with the opponent. You have to be able to run with the Golden State Warriors to beat them.
Lidocaine and B12.
Because making threes against the Golden State Warriors does not create momentum because they can do that all day long.
Yeah.
Like when Luka made those back-to-back threes in the third quarter, was anybody worried? I was not worried at all. I did not see a space in time where the Mavericks were coming back to win that game because they had to beat the Warriors at their own game. And for really 3.5 quarters, they didn't make threes. So you're not beating the Warriors.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how this dynamic plays out. The series is long from over. I think that the story of this series will be written in game 2.
Yeah.
If the Mavs come out like that and they shoot poorly again in game 2, okay, now you're in trouble because Golden State's going to win a game in Dallas.
Yeah.
You feel like over the next 6 games, Golden State is more than capable of getting a game in Dallas. If you play terrible basketball again, if you're Dallas in game 2, I would be really concerned.
Yeah.
And I know series doesn't start till the home team loses. I totally understand that. But there is a message sent in every single game. Is it going to be Dallas saying, hey, man, you're in for a long ride here. This is a 7-game series. Or is it Golden State saying, nah, we're going to go to Dallas and we're going to win a game. We're going to take a game on your home floor.
Yeah.
I'm going to be really interested to see that. Let's see. Sean Mierzinski says, I was debating with someone last night on this Ayton worth $40 million a year thing. Well, the thing you should be debating is what in the hell were the Suns looking at when they chose Ayton over Luka? Okay, because that's a real thing. DeAndre Ayton's not worth $40 million. He wants Rudy Gobert money, and I'm telling you, he isn't worth that. I'm not paying him. The Suns are handling this exactly the way they should be. Exactly the way they should be. Let him go to RFA. Let him go to restricted free agency. Don't extend him. Do what you need to do. I would not pay him anywhere near a maximum rookie extension.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that.
Yeah, I just think his game isn't there yet. I mean, I do think he's one of the best bigs in the league, but I don't think that the defensive side, the lacking on the defensive side is just too much. I mean, just the same way Rudy's got lacking on the offensive side. And again, this is the age-old debate. I mean, yeah, sure. I'm sure there are some people who'd say they'd rather have Ayton over Rudy or whatever, but I just think that DeAndre Ayton has work to do, from a toughness perspective, learning how to catch the basketball regularly, and then defensively wanting to beat people up because that's ultimately what his role on the floor has to be as a big in the NBA.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I just think Ayton was always going to be a disappointment. To go back to things that I'm always right about, when the Suns made this pick, we straight called this out as a mistake.
What I just said.
I mean, he goes to Arizona, and he is a dominant player, but he isn't a guy that wants to kill. And if you're going to be a dominant 4 or 5, because he really is a hybrid. He's not a true 5 in this league because he's soft. He's a shooter. He's more of a a touch feel finesse player.
Mm-hmm.
You're not a 5.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
We talked about this ad nauseum, and people really were upset when we said he's soft. He's always been soft. And the thing that has stood out to him that he has not improved on in his career, DeAndre Ayton does not catch the basketball well.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, it's because he isn't a strong arm hands guy, which is why he doesn't dunk on dudes, which is why he's great at catching lobs. He's great at, you throw the ball up at the rim, he'll catch it and dunk it.
Yep.
You throw him the ball in traffic, it's a turnover.
Yep.
Consistently and repeatedly. And at some point, the Suns have to decide if they want that kind of soft player as their center, because I do think he cost him in the Dallas series. I truly think that Dallas played him off the floor.
Yeah.
Because he just wasn't willing to be nasty. And his fouls are soft. And I'm not saying that Bismack Biyombo is a better player than him, because Bismack's not. He's a role player, right?
Right.
But at least Biyombo's trying to foul guys with authority.
But no one's going to disrespect me.
Yeah, swinging and missing. Bismack Biyombo's going to dunk on you.
Yeah.
If DeAndre Ayton wanted to dunk on everybody that stood in front of him, we wouldn't be having this conversation. They'd have pen to paper already.
Yeah.
But he's just not he's a nice guy. He's a soft guy.
Yeah.
So he's not worth that. He's not worth that in any way, shape, or form. I mean, is DeAndre Ayton not replaceable?
I mean, he is replaceable. I think a lot of bigs in the league are replaceable. I mean, you're seeing two teams in the Western Conference Finals who don't really have bigs. You know, Dallas has Kleba, but, you know, Golden State, you know, runs Looney out there sometimes, but, you know, you don't have like a max player at the 5 on your team. And that's ultimately what I think the difference is. A lot of these bigs, unfortunately for them, you know, you have to be able to do certain things to up your value in the league. I mean,
That's
you can't
right.
just roll up and be like, hey, yeah, I'm a 7-footer. I can dunk without jumping. That's not good enough anymore. The league is too fast. It moves too quickly. And
Too fast and too furious.
Yeah, dude. Like, come on, bro. Let's go, Vin.
We're all
come on.
family here.
Yeah.
What I just say.
Yeah.
You know?
Giggity says
Damn.
Luka looked dehydrated after his day drinking. That picture really pissed a bunch of people off. People thought that was from you. I'm telling you, there's no way that
It's
picture.
an old picture, man.
I'm pretty certain that's an old picture. There is no way that the Dallas Mavericks are sitting on the street in San Francisco waiting for the game. That's not how NBA players go.
That's cute. I remember when I had my first beer.
And I would hope that Luka's not drinking beer on a game day. I would really hope he's not. That picture was not from yesterday.
Yeah, that's an old picture.
Yeah. Did somebody confirm that?
Yeah, I saw it on Twitter. I don't have a name to say, hey, they absolutely confirmed it.
Yeah.
But there were several people who were like, yeah, this is an old picture.
Yeah, absolutely. BB says, so you will not be talking hypothetical. Hello? Hypothetical trade talk. Come on, Monty. It's fun. I'm not here for that.
No.
I'm not here for that. Eric and Raleigh, whoa, hey now. Comment dump. Also, focusing on going to Luka on offense really tired him out too. Well, because they made him work defensively as well.
Yeah.
This is what the game plan was very clearly, to get Curry on Luka, to get Wiggins on Luka, to make Luka Doncic work defensively.
Which is what Phoenix didn't do.
Because when you're carrying around all that extra cellulite in your legs,
Mm-hmm.
and you haven't had that lipo yet, Luka, and stuff. You're walking around with a kegger of Amstel Light in the gut. Like, yeah, it's gonna be tough to defend and to offend.
Wow.
And on the offend end.
And I ain't giving up no damn Rice Krispie treats.
Yeah, you know. Would you really consider Draymond athletic? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
100%.
Draymond Green's a phenomenal athlete.
Why does everybody hate Draymond Green? Like, what is
he's
what's
an
the
asshole,
deal, dude?
I mean, because his
But
personality.
Luka's an asshole. Like, everybody in the league is an asshole. LeBron's an asshole. Russ is an asshole.
No,
like,
but Draymond,
come on, dude.
Draymond, Luka, like
Chris Paul's an asshole.
Chris Paul is an asshole.
Come on.
But the guys that, like last night, Luka flopping on the ground, like he talking shit to the fans last night. Like when Draymond goes up, gets fouled, puts the ball in the hoop, he does the flex thing sitting on the floor. That's why people hate Draymond, right? But that doesn't mean he's not an excellent player. You want him on your team.
Yeah.
Absolutely. There's not a team in this league who doesn't want Draymond Green as part of their roster, because he's a really good rebounder. He's an elite defender, arguably the best defender in the NBA. and he's great at running the floor and distributing. Draymond Green can win you a game without ever shooting the ball.
Yeah, which is insane.
So you don't have to like him, but he's earned your respect. He's a phenomenal player.
Yeah,
a phenomenal player. You love him when he's on your team. You hate him when he's the opponent. Eric and Raleigh says the beer picture was taken the night before the game in San Francisco. Oh, was it really? I didn't know that. I have no idea. See, but that would bother me if that's true. That would bother me if he's sitting on the street drinking beer. That would bother me. I don't think it was.
I highly doubt that was real, dude. Come on.
I highly doubt that. Highly doubt that. Luka wants to play basketball with as little movement as possible. Eric and Raleigh says, yeah, because his lungs and stuff are tired. Luka can kiss my ass. Neville 93 says, thank you.
Yeah, the Mavericks came out and said that that's an old picture. So.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not surprising to me. It's him, Boban, and an assistant coach sitting at a table in San Francisco. It's on my Twitter feed. Sitting at a table at what looks to be San Francisco, and Luka's got a glass of beer in his hand.
Yeah.
I highly doubt that is from, I would be surprised if that was not if that's a preseason game, okay. You just can't tell me that that's from yesterday, or the day before. I seriously doubt that. Bird, Nowitzki, and Jokic are all 6'9" and taller.
Okay.
Eric and Raleigh says, okay, I don't know what that's related to.
What is that?
Oh, and Garcia said, Larry Bird, Dirk Nowitzki, the Joker, all non-athletic greats. You can add Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan was a phenomenal athlete. I unfortunately saw that up close and personal many times.
Mm-hmm.
I hate the Spurs so much. But Larry Bird was a phenomenal athlete. I mean, Larry Bird, before his back injury, Larry Bird could run, could dunk, could bang. Like, Larry Bird was a great athlete. He had a back injury. I would agree that Dirk Nowitzki was never a great athletic basketball player. But good Lord, the guy could shoot.
Yeah.
And he was long as the day. But Nikola Jokic, I actually disagree with you. I think Jokic is a good athlete. I think he's come into his own physically over the last 5 years. And I think his ability to get up and down the floor the way he does, his ability to use his frame, athletic ability is, really in my mind, it's guys that are strong, can run, and can play at all three levels. And the other thing that I think in the NBA we don't talk enough about is flexibility. Those guys are incredibly flexible. It is how you keep your legs from snapping in half.
Yeah.
You're flexible, and you have to be flexible. James Knight says, I can imagine you have a similar game to Luka, Monty, backing down in the block, hitting the fadeaway with as little movement as possible. I am not a great athlete. Not at this stage of my 50-year-old fat-ass life.
For real.
I can shoot a little bit, but I play on the block just because I'm bigger than everybody. So, I mean, the problem is in today's game, nobody can pass to the post. Kids Jake age don't know how to pass into the post. They really don't. Compare Ayton to centers drafted 3 years before and 3 years after. He's not a scrub. This isn't a centers league.
Nobody's saying he's a scrub, dude.
Nobody said he's a scrub.
He's not a max player, though.
Yeah, he's not a superstar. He's not a star player. He's not a scrub. Deandre Ayton is a good player. He is, but he's not a guy you want as your starting center that's making $40 million a year. This man was a bona
fide scrub.
Like it's Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert's a good player. I don't want him as my starting center, and I certainly don't want him for $40 million.
Yeah.
He's not a bad player. He's just like, I would probably in today's NBA entertain the argument of DeAndre Ayton or Rudy Gobert. Which guy do you want? Right? I mean, because that's not an open and shut case. Oh, it's Rudy Gobert. Is it, though? In today's NBA, is it cut and dry Rudy Gobert? I mean, DeAndre Ayton's biggest problem is he's soft.
Yeah.
He's just not going to foul you hard. He's not a great rebounder, but he's got phenomenal touch. The guy can straight up shoot a basketball. I think there's a good argument to be had there. By the way, I don't want either one of them as my starting center, and I'm not paying either one of them more than $20 million a year.
Yeah.
I'm just not.
Yeah.
I'm not giving a guy that cannot consistently score and a guy that will not consistently bang 25% of my salary cap. I'm not doing that. Jeremy Bolton says, well, good morning. Caruso is a bona fide scrub. Okay. I don't know. What does Alex Caruso have to do with anything in this conversation?
He's just staying on brand. He's staying on brand, bro.
Okay.
That's all he's doing.
Cool. The Warriors are the best team in the NBA, Eric says, and they play the best in the whole team, 6'6" and under.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
I'm not ready to say the Warriors are the best team in the NBA. I'm not. I mean, I think there's a hell of a lot of good basketball being played in the Eastern Conference tonight. Like Boston and Miami, those are two really good things. I think Golden State's better than Dallas.
Yeah.
Is Dallas better than Boston or Miami? I don't think so. I don't know how good Miami is. I'll be honest with you. I think we know that Boston is probably the best defensive team in the NBA. How good is Miami? Was that Boston or was that Miami the other night? Was that truly losing your best defensive player in Marcus Smart and a really important role player in Al Horford? I don't know how many teams can win a game without two of their most important players.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a lot of Miami, but I think not having Smart specifically is the one you really miss. But we'll see, man. There's a lot of basketball we played.
Yeah. I don't know. Brett Robbins, Ayton has the body of Patrick Ewing, but bangs like Duncan Robinson. Yeah, how about the fall of Duncan Robinson?
He's still getting paid.
Not for long. I don't think he's going to be on the Heat next year. I mean,
yeah,
it's incredible. Duncan Robinson is terrible defensively. He does one thing well, shoots a three.
Yeah,
and he gets paid in this league. That's a really good point. I don't know. Are the Warriors the best team left in the NBA?
I think they're the most dangerous team, and what I mean by that is you may be able to beat them, like Miami or Boston, a really stout defensive team, may be able to hold them down a little bit and beat them. But I think that the dangerous portion is that on any given night, in any given building, they can go off and shoot 45, 48% from three on any given game, and at that point, it's over. And you can contest if you want to, but when you've got two of the best shooters the league has ever seen, and then you've got Jordan Poole in addition to that, you're a really dangerous team, and there's not much people are going to be able to do about it. I mean, it's exactly what Luka did to the Suns. Like Luka was knocking down all those shots, and there was nothing that the Suns were going to be able to do about it. So who's the best team left? Tell me who's shooting the ball the best. Honestly, like that's, I feel like, what it comes down to.
All four of them. All four of them are 3-point. But that's what this league is, and this is why. Again, when we talk about this is why when we talk about Rudy Gobert, and we have this discussion about how the Utah Jazz are built, you have to be a 3-and-D team right now to win. You have to be. Look at 3 of the 4 teams. If you look at the Warriors, the Heat, and the Celtics, what do those 3 teams really have in common? They are elite defensively. They are really good defensively, and Boston's probably the best of the bunch.
Yeah.
But Dallas is not. Dallas does not always defend well.
Dallas was a top 10 defense this year, but that doesn't make them a great defensive team.
No.
We need to be clear on that.
No, and I think you start to see that a lot of that happened after the trade deadline. Once they picked up guys, once they made a switch and Jalen Brunson was playing a lot more, Dinwiddie came into the fold, they were able to do more defensively. But the issue is that Luka is a turnstile. I mean, he cannot stand in front of another guard. Yeah. He just is not. He doesn't have quick feet at all. He is a slow, plodding, methodical player, and he's a really good one. But if I look at Golden State, I mean, just about everybody you have on the floor at any given time is a really good defender. With the exception of guys. Even I thought Looney did a really good job in the switches with Luka.
Yeah.
I thought he did a really good job. But I look at Boston. They put 5 guys. Did anybody see the Daniel Tice block the other night? That was freaking unbelievable.
Yeah.
And that's what this team, the Boston Celtics, are capable of. When you're getting defense from everybody, look at the blocks Bam Adebayo had. Look at Jimmy Butler's block in the corner. Look at the rebounding. And the other thing that these 3 teams, Boston, Miami, and Golden State, have in common that Dallas does not, they turn defense into offense consistently.
And quickly.
So they pull it down and Draymond Green sprinting up the floor. They pull it down, and there's an outlet pass from Bam to Jimmy Butler, and they're into their offense. Like if the game last night, ESPN was showing a graphic this morning, or a highlight package this morning. There were like 4 or 5 straight possessions where Golden State was playing 4-on-2, 4-on-3. Like they're just getting up the floor quicker than you.
Well, and I think that's a thing in the league. Like I think a lot of teams, and really the Jazz, were in their prime with this roster. Were notorious for hey, Rudy's going to pull that board down, then he's going to outlet it to hopefully somebody. Hopefully it's Bogey or Don or Mike, one of those three. You're going to outlet it to one of those 3 guys who is probably 2 steps behind the half-court line already. And you're going to push the ball up, and you're going to find the open 3. And that's what made the Jazz so dynamic as a team, right? But I think with Dallas, the issue is Luka does want to play this slow pace.
Yeah.
Chris Paul does want to play this slow pace. Like that's what made LeBron so lethal early in his career. He just got the ball and ran his ass down to the other end and either got fouled or dunked the basketball. That's why he was so dominant.
And I think the thing that we see that these teams do well that the Jazz don't do well. What are the hallmarks of good offense from Golden State? Lots of movement.
Yeah.
Everybody's in the blender. What are the hallmarks of really good offense from Miami? Lots of screen roll. Lots of Bam Adebayo pick and roll. Jimmy Butler creating. Like, you look at these teams, they stay on brand.
Yes, core tenants.
And what is Dallas's core tenant? One-on-one ISO basketball with Luka. Look what happened. I mean, you had Jalen Brunson dominate the Utah Jazz, and he really has not been the same player since Luka came back.
Yeah.
And I think what you've seen there is the potential to be far better. Like someone who can be far better. And I think that's what Dallas, and I don't mean to be redundant, and I know that I say the same thing over and over about the Dallas Mavericks, but somebody's got to step up. Yeah. One of these guys, it can't be Luka for 30 and everybody else for 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Because Golden State has shown you now that Luka's got to find another gear against this team. He's going to get his 30. But who else is going to be there? Again last night, it's Spencer Dinwiddie with 17 or whatever it was.
Yeah, which is a more typical performance.
I would agree with that.
That's more of what you're going to get.
Somebody, and it's probably Jalen Brunson. Somebody's got to have 20, 30-point game.
But this is what I was saying. They're going to knock down more of those shots. Like Jalen Brunson missing all those wing threes. He's not going to miss all of those. Again, I'm not trying to write off this loss, but if we're talking about specifically why they lost, yeah, the transition game was an issue for them. But really, the things that were in their control, they just didn't shoot well. Reggie Bullock is going to make those shots.
3 of 10 from 3 for Bullock. It's Bullock.
That's an issue.
Damn it. 0 of 5 for Brunson. 3 of 10 for Luka. 1 of 4 for Kleba.
3 of 10.
Yeah, 3 of 7 from Spencer Dinwiddie from 3.
And you know the other issue with that? When you're missing all of those threes, what was the total?
11 of 40. Oh, Jesus. 11 of 48.
So you took 48 3-point attempts, and you only made 11 of those. Meaning that, what is that? 37 times Golden State gets a long rebound and is out in transition.
18 fast break points.
That's a lot of opportunities, maybe not 37 times, but you figure, 18 fast break points. They probably had 23 to 25 fast break opportunities at that. So that's why I say, if you're going to take 48 threes, you damn well better make 25 of those, because if you don't, the price that you're going to have to pay when you play the Warriors is going to be heavy. And that's what happened last night.
By the way, the PGA Championship is teed off, and Tiger Woods on the first tee right down the middle for 300. So we'll see. He says his legs, by the way, and I'm a huge golf fan when Tiger's playing.
Yeah.
Tiger said yesterday that his legs were hurting him at the Masters, that, he was struggling.
Yeah.
The last tournament he played was a Masters, I think.
Yeah, Augusta.
Right.
Yeah.
That his legs were bothering him. That in the last 2 days he was actually in physical pain just walking the course.
Well, because Augusta's basically the most demanding course on the tour, and that was his first one.
It's like 400 feet of elevation.
Yeah, it's like some gnarly up and down, and it just is very taxing. So he basically said in his little presser or whatever, stand up there, that it's equivalent to coming back and doing your first hike up Mount Everest, essentially.
Yeah, and he also said yesterday that he stopped playing golf for weeks and got back in the gym and has worked on flexibility and lower leg strength.
Yeah.
To try and compensate, because again, it's the PGA. It's a lot of walking, and it is not the easiest course to walk. This is not an easy place to play. Tiger won at this course.
07.
Yeah, 07.
Yeah.
They completely changed the course since that time.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting, but good start for him. He's playing with Spieth and Rory McIlroy. And I continue to say Jordan Spieth is one of the biggest disappointments in American golf history. The guy has got to frickin' figure out how to be there on Sunday with a chance to win, and he just too often is not. All right, let's get some of your thoughts in here, because I want to get to this Nick Saban sound here in a minute, because I think this NIL discussion is continuing to be a big deal. John Jackson says, I'd rather put Jazz money into a forward big rather than a center big if we lose Rudy. Yeah, I would agree with that.
Not if, when.
Yeah,
I
still think that happens. Yes,
Yeah.
I agree with that. Eric says Looney might be the key to the series. His offensive rebound potential is huge. I agree. The Warriors are so good at the fast break because they don't always make outlet passes. It's because, the thing that nobody talks about is the Warriors rebound in motion. Like, if you watch Draymond Green rebound, he's already running when he grabs the basketball on the rebound. He is already moving up the floor.
Yeah.
Steph 3-4 times last night, swinging through to get the rebound, already up the floor. You don't even realize he's got the rebound, and he's already got you by 2 steps.
And his range is, puts you in a precarious situation, no doubt.
Yeah. Brett Robbins says, I want the Jazz to try and get Isaac.
Jonathan Isaac.
Okay.
From Orlando, I think.
Rudy Sanchez says, how do you guys feel about the league trying to change the fast break foul rule? They need to eliminate it.
Yeah, I love it. I love the concept that they're trying to put in a rule that basically says that you get 1 free throw and you get to keep possession. I love that. I think I don't think it's too heavy of a price to pay for all those take fouls.
Yeah.
And I think, again, not to hate on the Jazz, but they're one of the most notorious teams for it. We saw it all season long.
The Jazz and the Heat.
Yeah.
The Jazz and the Heat, and you should. I mean, if you're playing the Golden State Warriors, I'd do it. You cannot allow them to get momentum on the break, because the problem is it's what the Jazz used to do. Steph Curry last night is taking step back threes on the break and making them.
Yes.
You can't have that. You just can't have that. James Knight says, okay, we get it. You guys are on the Dubs bandwagon to Slurpville. LOL. They're good. I don't know how you're not on their bandwagon right now. And Garcia says, Rudy, Ayton, and Luka, we need 2 more for Monty's starting 5 hate list. Jesus, this is not difficult. Rudy, Ayton, and Luka. The problem is I don't hate Rudy. I don't.
Everybody thinks we hate Rudy, but we don't.
I don't hate Rudy. He's just an incredibly limited player.
We're not going to sit here and say, sunshine and roses about the guy. I mean, yes, he is a defensive player of the year guy. He is super capable at the rim. 9 times out of 10, he's going to win that dunk attempt, whether he gets the block or the guy dunks on him. He's going to get the block 9 times out of 10. But again, like we were just discussing with Deandre Ayton, I mean, that's great that you can play rim defense, but you don't have a jumper or any kind of offensive game outside of setting picks.
Yeah.
And by the way, we just got done discussing that this league is a track meet, and Rudy Gobert does not fit into a track meet.
I would agree with that. James Knight says, the Monty All-Star hate team, love it. It is, I mean, you can put Rudy on that if you want. I don't hate Rudy. But Ayton, Luka, I think you definitely have to have James Harden on that team. I hate James Harden. Like, that guy to me is...
Pat Bev?
No, I'd love Pat Bev to be on the Bulls. I mean, you want Patrick Beverly on your team. I don't like him on somebody else's team, but there's not a whole lot of guys in this league I don't like. There's nobody. The Knicks are irrelevant. Like, Giannis, I'm not a huge fan of Giannis, but I don't hate Giannis. I mean...
Westbrook?
Yeah, I'm not a big Russ fan. Kyrie, to a certain extent, I really like watching Kyrie Irving play basketball. Like, I really enjoy his game. I hate all the other stuff. I hate the COVID stuff. I hate the
bro,
fasting.
Can't use the C word, bro. Come on.
Oh, my bad. My bad.
The C word.
I didn't say that.
So you better check yourself.
there's not a lot of guys I dislike in this league. Like there's nobody on the Jazz. I don't like Royce O'Neal. You can put Royce O'Neal on that. The dirty plays against Dallas really bothered me.
Yeah.
Really, like that.
And what did it get you?
That sealed the deal for me.
Yeah.
Like that was when Royce was doing that with Jalen Brunson, that was the end of that. I just thought that was really beneath who the Jazz should be.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't have guys like I don't hate. Like the funny thing is, there's a difference between hating a guy. Like I can't stand James Harden, the basketball player. I don't know him as a human being.
Yeah.
I hate James Harden, the basketball player. Like the flopping, the swing through stuff, the quitting on teams. I do not like James Harden. He's my starting guard on that team. But like Ayton, I don't hate DeAndre Ayton. He's just not good. I don't hate Rudy Gobert. He's just not good.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's a difference between hating and truth telling. Man, who would my starting 5 haters be? Like, I mean, Luka for certain. I don't like Luka Doncic at all. But I mean, I love the guy's game. I mean, you got to respect his game.
Yeah. LeBron?
Yeah, but I just have so much respect for him as a player, though.
Yeah.
I don't like him as a guy. I mean, the activism stuff off the floor that he does not do. I don't know. I'd have to really think about that because there's not a whole lot of guys that I just straight up hate.
Yeah.
Like like Trae Young. I don't like Trae Young. I mean, I guess you could put him on that team. I don't even enjoy watching him play. Like he's not enjoyable.
Yeah, you were not a big fan of the New York Knicks, banter with Trae Young.
No, I wasn't because it didn't pay off to anything. I don't know. It is what it is. The double travel step back that for some reason he's the only player in the world who can do it. It's not a travel.
It's not.
It's not. I mean, the NBA and the NBA official union has explained it. James Harden, everybody does it. It is not a travel.
It looks like a travel on TV because you can't see when he's picking up the ball. That's the thing. It's when you pick up the ball.
And Garcia says it's hate if every single show is about a player's downside. No, every single show is about the Jazz needs to rebuild. It's not like seeing Garcia, and I don't understand why you can't figure this out.
Yeah, this is not a hard concept.
It's when you're talking about the Jazz, how do you not talk about the guy who's taken up fucking 25% of their salary cap?
Yeah.
Guy, do you understand Rudy Gobert gets 20, I think the exact number is 23.6% of their salary cap.
Facts.
So we should just not talk about him? Are you serious? He is one of their single biggest issues, good and bad.